You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. It's all about dating. I love this show. We get to talk about so many things near and dear: love, dating, relationships, breakups. It's a myriad of things, and it's always fun. My co-host is Lisa Manyoky. She is in the house with me. I am your host, executive producer, director, and broadcast engineer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Let's bring out Lisa. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, how are you? You know what?
What?
Now, I look like I belong in a garden today. You know, it's like I'm in the organic food section of the store, you know, and you look like you're going on a date. Oh, there's somebody for everybody.
Well, you know what it is for this show, there's maybe 4 shows that I get dressed up, which is kind of funny because sometimes I'm actually in a ball gown, and I, instead of sitting, now I stand for all of my shows because I read that if you sit, you burn between 60 and something number of calories, and if you stand, it's like 100 or 120 to something, depending on your weight. So, yeah. So my point is that I'll be wearing a ball gown, standing here like waiting for Mr. Prince to climb up the. I feel like I'm in the tower, you know, because I'm in the loft.
Rapunzel.
Yes, yeah. Let down your hair, except I cut all my hair off. So,
and there's another thing. So, you know, when you go to the hairstylist and you get your hair done, they always do it differently than if you did it yourself. And today, yes. I feel like it's not my regular hairdo.
Did you just get it done?
Just like a few hours ago.
Oh my gosh!
You know, so everybody, you know what I mean. It's I just want to go wash it and redo it, and not because it's bad. It's just different from how I usually do it. So,
it looks nice. It looks nice, but I have the same thing, and then I realize I'm the one who cut it. So,
well, if you have any complaints, you can talk to that person in the mirror. You know, and
I know where to find them. Exactly. You know, it's funny because my hair was like down to here. I think now my mother's hair is down to here. We're getting it cut on Saturday. Yay! She wouldn't let me cut it, but that's another story. But so I cut it, and then it was like up to here, and that's up to here, and so I don't even care. Maybe I'll just I might do an uneven where this side is longer than this side. I've had that before. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Well, the nice thing is that no matter how you do it, you'll look very pretty, because I've seen it at all different lengths and it always looks good, but mine is not forgiving. So my hair is short and it's thin and it's fine. So I don't have a lot of options except a wig.
Right.
Then I'd have a hot flash, and we don't want that to happen because then I'd melt. But I mean, it's just you get what you get and you work with it, right?
That's exactly right. Yes, it looks very nice. And of course, I have 2 wigs on the other side of the green screen. And it's funny because when I see some of my commercials that I've made, it's just like, oh my gosh, that looks like a wig. And they're expensive too. They're not cheap wigs.
It doesn't matter. There's just something different about them.
I think it's this part here. They can't seem to get the part right, because that's where it's like see-through, and that's where the pieces connect. Yeah. So anyway, it was something to do during the winter when I was in a state of shock that I cut so much hair off. So.
Well, you know, you're more sensitive to it than I mean, I always thought it looked good. So.
Well, thank you. And for those of you out there who are watching, we have a guest today, but the guest isn't here. So we don't know if the guest is arriving or not. But in the meantime, we have plenty of things to talk about.
Yes, we do. Well, why don't you update us on your dating initiatives, if any?
Well, that'll be a very quick conversation because I don't have any dating initiatives. I actually left the house with my mother last night. We walked and had dinner and sat outside, which was very nice. We're going to do that tonight. So my mom is my date.
You know, I went on many dates when my mom was alive. I didn't mind. We had a lot of fun.
We did have a lot of fun. My mom had 2 glasses of wine last night, which is a lot for her. So I actually escorted her home. We were linking arms the whole way.
That's all right. Listen, you're taking care of Mama. It's your turn to watch her. So we've all done that, right?
Yes, definitely. So what about your dating initiatives?
It might be almost as short a story as yours. Okay, I think this is relevant probably to a lot of people. When you go through some changes in life, transitions, sometimes they are exhausting. And I'm finding that at this time, I lost all my parents in the last year, just over a year. All 3 of them passed away. Work changed dramatically because I had a lot of work in a senior living industry, and it came to a screeching halt with COVID. So I used the last year to actually develop some other initiatives that I had backburnered because there's only so many hours in a day. And that was really interesting. And also, this is really big news, but my daughter graduated from college, which means I don't ever, and this is not from a place of bitterness, but rather joy, need to talk with my ex-husband again.
Oh, yay!
It's totally cut. There's no accountability, no responsibility. And it feels like there's a big clearing here of stuff. Caring for 3 elderly parents and the crazy pace of raising 3 kids solo. When it comes to a close, it's like, do I really want to ramp up and get into another thing really fast? So I find that I am in a really slow motion dating mode. If something's got to really catch my eye and the timing's got to be really right, I just don't feel any urgency. It's more like, it'd be cool if it happens, but if it doesn't, okay too.
Well, good for you. By the way, congratulations on your daughter's graduation. I saw that on Facebook.
Yep.
That is
my
huge.
Third.
Yay!
No college tuitions. I had 3 at one time.
Woo, that's a lot of stress.
That's a lot of stress, and my wallet was wounded. But I'm very happy. One thing I did was make certain that they understood that once they got their degree, hello, adulting.
Time to step up and take care of yourselves.
I'm waving from the sidelines now. But it's a great relief. I mean, they were prepared for it. But again, the responsibilities that come with parenting and caregiving and whatnot, I mean, they can be really consuming. So right now, anything that's going to really be full-on immersion feels not so desirable at this point.
Well, that's good that you realize that.
I do, and I'm really candid about it. Like I said, I mean, I've gone out, not so much in the last many months because of COVID, but I've spoken with people, but I find myself really slow, and it's fine. I'm okay with that.
Well, especially with all the loss that you've incurred, like you just need time for yourself. It sounds like.
Well, and we talk about readiness, that when we're going to date, that it's ideal that you have all your ducks in a row and that there's a clear space for it. So even though there's space, what I'm finding is that there's just space without urgency to just fill it up with just anything. It's got to be extraordinary and right. And that's fine. So that's kind of self-awareness is important for everybody when they're in a dating process, when they're prospecting, when they're in it. Clarity, and then clarity with self is essential.
So true. Something that I was thinking about is when you're not in a relationship, there's none of what I've experienced, which is, when's he going to call? When am I going to see him? How much time is he going to have? What's he doing now? It's just, I don't have any of that anymore. And I don't have to, it's like nice. I don't have to worry about what anyone's doing except for my mother, and she's downstairs. So it's kind of like, it gives me the clearing in my mind that I can focus on what it is. Like, so I'm launching my book on Sunday, and then I'm launching A Better You, and then these shows and building up the audience. That's all the time I really have. Plus with the standing, it's exhausting, by the way, the standing. So tomorrow I'll stand for 7 hours. I feel like I'm working retail, which is a tough job, by the way. Have you ever worked retail?
No, but I've served tables. And that can be pretty crazy.
That's hard too.
But what do you have on your feet? What kind of shoes?
So right now I have no shoes on because I've been
Okay.
alternating. I've been alternating between shoes and no shoes. And like last night when my mom and I went for a walk, I was wearing sandals. It was so nice because I did my toes and I thought of, put on a pair of sandals. And I walked maybe a block and I thought, oh my gosh, my feet are killing me. So tonight I'm going to have to wear some kind of really ugly but comfortable shoes.
Okay, well, that's all right. But I mean, if you were standing in stilettos, I'd be very impressed because.
Oh no! I mean, I hope I can still wear stilettos because I do have shoes that are 6 or 7 inches, and when you're at the shore, there's nowhere to go. I mean, if you're a Margate or something, but in Avalon, no, people are not wearing heels for the most part.
No. Well, even so, from the waist up, you always look very elegant, and it's really today. You can plant me in the garden somewhere. I'm looking for.
No, you look very pretty. So I have a transparency, an open share that I'm going to give. So I had a show this morning that was, it's called It's Your Stage. And it's a production show a performance show, I should say. So we had a beautiful young singer who was performing. And before we started the show, I was wearing a black, very fitted silk mesh dress. And I had these lights on, and of course the air conditioner's on, but the loft is hot. We've got all these windows and all this equipment. So I started the show and I was like, oh my gosh, I am sweating. And there's nothing to wipe my face on, right? So I could see that I'm glowing, right? Literally sweating. It's running down the back of me. So I have to hike up my dress, right? Because it's like very long and fitted. So I spotlight the guests and I have to use the green screen to wipe the sweat off my face. Then I'm using yellow line, the line paper. I'm using that. I went downstairs and I said, Mom, we've got to figure something out because it's so hot up here. So that's why I might be wearing a bathing suit the next time. I'm not sure.
That's another show.
Yeah, exactly. That's a show you're going to see me like this. I'll be like, hello.
You will literally be a talking head.
Yeah, exactly. So, but then I was able to, I think I was having an anxiety attack too. I don't know why. Just because, when you're already hot, like you're already sweating, and then you start thinking about sweating, and then you sweat more. Anyways, I digress. So
vicious cycle.
It sure is. Yes, it is. So when it comes to dating, you and I are not doing too much, but I think people are going to get back into it. I've had a couple guests on and, they're in the dating world and they basically think that it's going to go crazy, that people are going to go girls gone wild, and then it's going to go back to somewhere in the middle. So what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. We'll see. It's hard to say. Here in New Jersey, we and Hawaii are the only 2 states that are still requiring masks indoors. So it's still here. And for those who are not interested in wearing one, well, it still limits options, except we can go outside without them.
Well, let me share this with you because this was a very weird experience. I'm not going to give the name of the restaurant, but my mom and I went to a restaurant. We walked there. So we're in Avalon, figured out there are not that many open. And to go and get a table, I had to put on my mask. I went up to the desk. She had her mask on, and then she took us to the table, which was outside. Nobody had their masks on. And then to go to the restroom, I go inside, I have my mask on. No one in the restaurant's wearing a mask except the people who work there. So then I go in the bathroom, and no one's wearing a mask. So I thought, this is the weirdest situation because I've been vaccinated, and it's been like 7 weeks or 6, I don't know, 6 weeks. It's just so strange. You don't know how to behave.
No, I know. And I had a business meeting and wore my mask from the door to the table. And as I was leaving, I just forgot to put it on. Now, when I tell you that it was maybe 100 feet from the door to the table, I'm not talking about miles where I'm weaving through a crowd.
Lisa!
Hey, lady, you need to put your mask on, some militant hostess. And I thought, hey, did it know to stop when I reached the table? Come on. I was literally halfway from the 100 feet from the table to the door. So I covered my, pulled it out. I really just forgot. I wasn't trying to be difficult, but some of it seems a little over the top in those environments, but
yes. Yeah.
it's coming to a close.
I think so. Yeah. But now, we've had a number of people in from other parts of the world. And so apparently London opened yesterday. They still have some restrictions, but in the Netherlands, they're still closed. I think India and Pakistan, they've had a rough go of it.
Yeah.
But it's strange because other parts of the world are so far behind. Now, New Zealand, they didn't have really a lot of issues at all. So they've been, and I know they have like 5 million people or something, but they didn't have very many cases and they've been on top of it from the beginning. Canada, I interviewed someone and she said that they have a curfew. And if you're out past the curfew, you get fined. So it's just interesting that depending where you are in the world, how things are going.
Yeah, well, I think it's just odd that here we are in the U.S. and only 2 states say you still have to do something. So,
of course, it's New Jersey.
I'm tired of it. I've been vaccinated too, and for a while, so I'm just ready to talk without breathing in my own hair.
I know. I was thinking. I'm still thinking about it. I'm just thinking about running. Starting to run again. I haven't been running, and I thought I don't want to run with the mask on. But I think now, if you're outside in New Jersey, you don't have to. Right. No. Okay. Because that would be very hard.
You run?
I ran for years, but the last time I ran in, it's called Team Challenge for the Crohn's Colitis Foundation. So I went out to Vegas and I ran, not this past November, obviously, but the one before that. And I said to myself, this is great. I got myself into really good shape. And then I stopped doing it because it's so hard on your joints, at certain age. And because of my ulcerative colitis, I don't like something juggling my colon up and down. But I am thinking I'm going to start again. So I'm looking for some sneakers.
Or just walk fast.
The thing with so I do walk. I've been walking like 7 miles. I used to do it like 3 times a week, but now I don't have time with this. But it takes so long. So if I wear my Apple Watch, which is over there, so I'm looking there, and if I walk 7 miles, 7.5, 8 miles, it's going to take me just under 2 hours, 210, whatever it is, depending how long. And it's 300 and some calories. Let's say 346 calories. Now, if I jump on this trampoline on the other side of this green screen and I jump for an hour, I'm going to burn almost 600 calories. Mm. So
Have you tried rowing?
No, I don't have a rower.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's good.
I did my research because I had so many time constraints that it burns the most calories and is kindest to your joints. So that was my criteria. What's most effective in the shortest amount of time that is not going to beat up my joints? And it's really effective for that. The only hiccup for me is that when I was 12, I broke my tailbone. Didn't just damage it or bruise it. I'm talking broke it.
Broken.
So for me, my spinal column is like a dead end street. It just stops. So when you're rowing, there's constant friction, and I will get a rug burn. And it's just really an awfully uncomfortable scenario. However, sit on a pillow. That is a really effective alternative for a high caloric burn that's really kind to joints.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've actually done that before when I was, I belonged to, what's the place in Orange? The franchise with the
Orange Theory.
Yes, they have. You run and you row and So great news. Our guest is in the house. Yay. So why don't we take a quick break?
All right.
And hear from some of our sponsors. We're going to start with Donna Barnes, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
I don't think men are superficial idiots, that their brains are wired to be visual. I'm told I give great advice.
Nike Just Do It for exercise, I think really applies to sex, too.
I've coached hundreds of men and women.
Oh, I disagree with her where she's like, put it all out there on the first date. An open book is not sexy.
Do you have relationship questions? Chances are one of my clients or myself or my friends have gone through the same thing, and I already made a video about it. So I invite you to check out my YouTube channel, Donna Barnes. I've made hundreds of advice videos based on real-life experiences so that you can make better choices.
In my upcoming Breakup Recovery Action Plan, there's going to be checklists and quizzes.
Best information that I've ever experienced or acquired. If you're stuck and can't move forward or let go. My action plan is built to help you. Subscribe to my channel. I'll help you have better relationships.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Carruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Bella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book, Bella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Bella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. It's all about dating with my co-host Lisa Manyoky and our guest Johnny Cassell. Welcome, Johnny.
Hello, ladies.
Hi there. How are you?
I'm very well. I don't know what happened there. I didn't have a note on my end, but I'm either way. I'm glad to be back with you ladies, talking about everything: dating, relationships, attraction, seduction. Which direction are we going in today?
I like the idea of seduction because I'm not being seduced. But Johnny, it's great to welcome you back. Are you still in London?
Correct. And it's looking hopeful over here now. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the news, like things are opening back up now. So there's high spirits in the air. I think like all of us, we're just keeping our eye on that Indian variant that's kicking about.
Yes. And the last time we were here, for those folks who didn't see the show, you can go to our YouTube channel, Dr. Jacalyn LLC, and see the show. We had a lot to discuss. I went and looked at the broadcast, and it was like well over an hour and some minutes. So I know we're going to have more to discuss today, but I'm going to spotlight you. Can you just share a little bit about who Johnny Cassell is and the work that you're doing?
Yes, so I've been working with men for over 15 years now, helping them overcome their social issues, how they interact with people, how they interact with women, and just helping them get what they want out of this area of their life. I've seen so many things. Naturally, I've gone on a bit of a journey myself to be in a position where I can give back and teach. And through that process, I've racked up over 100,000 coaching hours, become a best-selling author, and met a lot of incredible people.
Johnny, what would you say it is about you that differentiates yourself from all the other coaches? I mean, you are an elite dating and men's lifestyle strategist. You're not just a coach, you're a strategist. So what would you say is your key differentiator?
Well, I can't speak on other coaches' story and timeline of events that have happened in their life, but mine has certainly been quite eventful. And I think when you're looking for a coach, you're looking to someone that you can relate to. So it's really interesting to just sort of sit down and speak to them first and hear their stories in regards to like where they got to where they got, how long it took them to get there and what was their trajectory. I came from a place where I was bullied at school by girls, so I was physically abused by girls. I believed that girls didn't like me from a very young age, limit myself to any environments where I could meet women. I didn't have access to them. I didn't want to be around them. So I overcome a lot of these issues. But I think my from where I've come from and where I am, I've gained a lot of experience in the sort of high-end sort of scene, so it would typically be bounced around the areas like Mayfair and London and, the equivalent of all the other major cities. And I have clients that fly in to work with me or they fly me out to see them. So it's, but as I said, don't just take anyone's spiel. Actually get on the phone and speak to a coach before you get to work with anyone, because you want to have that synergy with the people you work with.
Yes, that's definitely true. Thank you for sharing that. And when you were here before, we started talking about the importance of flirting. And now that people are getting back out there, Lisa and I we disclosed at the beginning of the show, I'm not looking to date anyone. She's taking things slowly, but it's always fun to flirt. I think regardless of what your situation is, it feels good, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think every day you want to fit in at least one or two flirts. You may not know what sort of trouble you're going to get yourself into, but isn't that the fun part?
It sure is. Now, it used to be, and I'm really dating myself now, but if you would bat your eyes at someone, that was kind of flirting. And now it might even just be saying hello.
Isn't it ridiculous? Like, I think we've all forgotten how to do it. Like just simply smiling, saying hello. I mean, that would be considered a come on at the moment. We've been so deprived from any sort of communication. It becomes quite exciting getting the hello from someone. So, I mean, for anyone listening, let's just start there. Let's just get back out there and start there. Let's hold that eye contact for a little bit longer. Let's kind of give it a bit of a cheeky smile. And again, let's see what trouble you get yourself into.
What's a cheeky smile?
Let's see one.
You want to see one?
Yes.
Well, it might be your whole. Okay, so I think there's a couple of ingredients, right, that make a good sort of flirty look. First of all, is having the courage to just hold eye contact for a bit longer than usual, because what we want to achieve is tension. Understand, and I may have said this on our last stream, that nothing can happen outside of tension. So if you hold eye contact, you now open up a non-verbal dialogue, right? Hold eye contact, and then just notice what is the default thought that you're having in your head. Because if it's like, oh God, I hope they like me, oh God, then that's the look that you're going to project, right? So get used to just telling yourself, like, it's on. Like, come up with a power phrase that really gets you into state to access access your flirting superpower. My one, if you want me to share, is it's on. So if I see someone that's attractive, I'll hold the eye contact, and as I'm thinking it's on, the smile just automatically comes. And that's a really great tip for anyone to go out and use on a day-to-day basis.
I love it. I was out with my mom on Mother's Day, our first venture out, and we were sitting at the table, and she said, that guy over there is staring at you. So I said, what does he look like? She said, oh, he's really good looking. So she said several times during the meal, but the guy never came over. And I realized I never turned around to totally look at him and look him in the eye. I guess if I had done that, maybe that would have been a signal for him to come over and talk.
Yeah, because, the pendulum has swung very far, and people might be afraid that if they did that, they might be perceived as encroaching on your space or creeping and all, right?
It's true. And I think it's really funny you bring the restaurant scenario up, because I'm quite familiar with going out with my friends, and some of them are single ladies, some of them are single guys. And I just watch how people play. I just see these environments as a bit of a playground. And one of the ladies that I used to enjoy going out to have dinner with, we'd have dinner, and then it took me a while to work out what she was doing after a while. But as we went to leave, she'd always go back in and say, oh, I think I've left my phone. I think I've left my phone in there. She hadn't left her phone in there. She just had it in her bag, but she wanted to appear as the damsel in distress to give anyone that was interested the opportunity to come and pick her up, so to speak, because it can be quite intimidating. You may be interested in someone that's with a group of friends, sat down at a restaurant table, but the time just hasn't really happened to make that approach and show your interest. You're only sort of left with some eye contact. So that was a great little thing that she did. And you can really, you could drop something on the floor, and then someone can come and pick it up and stuff like that. I mean, the damsel in distress card always it's always our go-to, isn't it?
Wasn't that in Legally Blonde where she dropped the pencil and it was snap and she hit the UPS guy in the head? No, you didn't see that. Okay.
I haven't seen it, but it's gonna work.
So here's my question. It just popped in my head. So let's say with that same scenario that I did give the guy a look, then what about the 6 feet rule? Like, I don't know.
Well, because you mean in the current climate that we're in?
Yes.
Hey, I mean, that's normal, is it not? I mean, why would someone be so close to you anyway? I mean, whenever I've been working with my clients, I've always said and encouraged that when you talk to someone, you want to be at least 2 meters away. You know, why would you be so close to them? It just doesn't make sense. It's going to make someone go, "Whoa, what do you want?"
Right, you're in my space.
Exactly. So people are very aware of that space. It's quite intimate. And I mean, you just have to sort of observe your own behavior, right? If someone approach you in the street, whether they're a charity worker or they've just done it a bit wrong, you just kind of flinch and you go, "What do you want?" You know, so when it comes to, making someone feel safe, and we are noticing a little bit about that in their body language, what you could do is just even go for one more step back. Just to encourage that. Just go, "Look, I'm not here as a threat. You can leave whenever you want." You know, that is what you're communicating. I'm just here because I find you attractive or whatever it is.
Yes, I like it. I'm wondering also, depending on where you are in the world, Lisa and I were talking about how some parts of the world are still closed. And then, here in the United States, we've got 2 states that are somewhat open, our state actually. But so maybe people are not feeling the best about themselves in terms of, maybe they haven't been working out, or maybe they let their hair go, whatever it might be. So do you coach your clients to wait until they feel really confident about themselves to start flirting or approach someone? Or is it just go out and do it? Just make it happen.
Just go out. I mean, do whatever you got to do to prime yourself into that optimal state. Whether it's going out, waiting to get that booking in with the hairdresser, get your nails done, with a guy, going out, topping up on your favorite moisturizers, your favorite fragrance, maybe it's a new shirt, whatever you got to do to get yourself in that place. We all have our own little rituals. But I would say this, you never know when that person is going to turn up in your life. So don't allow that to be an excuse. If you do see someone, you've got to pull the trigger. You've got to make something happen. Because otherwise, what you're really left with is an excuse that is, okay, they're attractive, but I can't do it because my nails aren't done. The chance are they're probably not even going to be looking at your nails, or realize there's a shirt button missing on your shirt, or something silly, It's just turn it up, make it happen.
Now, I've read that men are actually far more forgiving of a woman's flaws than women are. That what we assume to be, like a chipped nail, or that our hair is a mess, right? That guys aren't really, they have a far wider range of what's acceptable than we do. Would you agree?
I think it's a really interesting point you bring up, because I think we both are. And I've really seen this. Like it got to a stage with me and my friends, we were having so much fun just going out and having a really impactful conversation with women, that we thought, okay, this is a bit boring now. How do we make it harder? And we'd go out and deliberately try and mess it up. So we'd we'd go out, we'd start building the attraction, and it was a really great conversation, and you definitely see the interest there. And then once you've identified the interest, what we do, we just pull a really weird face, like completely out of character. So I'll do the weird, like I'm talking blah blah, and I go, oh, okay, go. So you're telling me about your sister? Oh yeah. Oh no, really? And it was just to see like how they would react, and it was just like a private in joke that me and my friend would do. And I would tell you, like, the women that we would speak, they weren't freaked out. They were like incredibly forgiving and polite. So it's we took it to the extreme of like, okay, how far can we go with really trying to mess this up? And was delighted to find that you can't. And I will go as far to say as well, like, I recall a time when I was working with a client, and I was watching him speak to a lady at this bar, And I saw this other lady on her own. I thought, well, I should kill some time. I'm going to speak to her. And I spoke to her, and it wasn't rehearsed or anything, but what came out of my mouth felt like it was something from a movie. It really did. And I was just so impressed with myself. I just kind of had that moment myself. I was like, oh, that was really good. I was like, wow, you've really, you are at the top of your game here. Like, wow. And she slowly rotates her head up and she goes, are you having an effing laugh? And I go, no, what do you mean? She goes, well, how many times have you said that? I'll be honest, that is the first time, but it was good, wasn't it? And I just couldn't crack it. She had her guard so high after that. It was just like, wow. So what I'm trying to say is, if you come across too squeaky clean, it can work against you.
Oh, no question. But how about this? How about if so, let's say you're just you're at a bar, or you're on a train, or you'll talk to a stranger and not even think about what's coming out of your mouth until you decide, now I'm in dating mode, I'm in pursuit. It's as if suddenly all the rules change, and they really shouldn't. I mean, it would be much more easy if you just say, this is a person. If the stars align, well, super. But so how can you encourage people to just not make the whole process so affected, but rather easy?
I love what you're saying, because the biggest misconception when we go out there and we try to talk to people for the first time is it's about us. It's about us. We go and we think, oh, I don't want to get rejected. Well, it's not about you. It's about the experience you'll give someone else. So it's get yourself out of your head, be present, and lift them up. You've seen how good they look. There is something about them that you find them attractive. It's not about you. It's about giving. So if I can get someone in that mindset, it really does push someone away from resistance, and getting them thinking the what ifs and the buts. You just got to do. You got to do, because I tell you what is more painful is not knowing, or even more so, watching someone else do the exact same thing that you just wanted to do.
That's true. Well, I have a story for the two of you, because I fall right into the category what Johnny said. So I used to travel all the time when I was in corporate, and I would take a train to New York, or I'd fly somewhere, and I'd see a really good looking guy, and I'd be like, please don't let him sit next to me. Please don't let him sit next to me, because I'm going to be so nervous. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. And lo and behold, he sits next to me. I'm literally sweating, shaking, leaning all the way over, right? So that and the guy's not even talking to me anyway. And I just went through that whole crisis mode for no reason.
Wow. And so you must have so many stories of traveling on business. I mean, hanging out at the hotel bars. I mean, come on, Jacalyn, let's hear it.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I think I already told this one about the wig. That was my favorite one. I told you that one, Lisa, right?
I don't know. I don't remember.
So I went to New York. I had an appointment with a consumer products company, very well known, and I had some extra time. I got there early. So when you come out of Penn Station, maybe a block away, there's a place that specializes in high-end wigs. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go get a wig. I wanted to get a jet black hair, which I've always been told I would look horrible in. So the woman said, I'm sorry, but you look horrible in that. So I said, okay, fine. So I get this blonde wig, and it was like a little bit longer, and I go and meet this business associate. We're going in to present together. So we were in the, what's the name of that building? Doesn't matter. Sleepless in Seattle, that building.
The Empire State Building?
Yes, thank you. So this woman, she and I are in the elevator, and we're going up, and she said, did you get extensions? And I said, no, I didn't. That's all I said, because I didn't get extensions. So now we go into the boardroom to meet with this group of people, and I'm up there presenting, blah, blah, blah. So afterwards, she presents. Then afterwards, we leave. We go into the restroom, and she says to me, as we're walking in, she said, you're wearing a wig, aren't you? And I said, yeah. And I said, how do you know? She said, because it's moved into a dome on the top of your head. Like it moved back from here to here, and it was like sitting this. So the client came in, and she said, that's a great wig. I give you a lot of credit for rocking a wig during a meeting. Okay, fast forward. After the meeting's over, other meetings, then I end up back at the train station at TGI Fridays. and there's a seat open at the bar. It's always packed with business people, and this gorgeous guy comes in, and he's wearing a 3-piece suit, and he's got the French cuffs and the whole deal, and he stands next to me, and we start flirting and having a great time. Well, it turns out we're on the same train. So he and I sit next to each other, and they serve Chardonnay. He goes and gets us Chardonnay, and we're sitting there talking, and we're having so much fun. And all of a sudden he says, I just love you. He said, you're so cool. And I said, really, what's so cool? He said, that you're wearing a wig, man. You're wearing a wig. And I said, how do you know? And he said, well, it's moved into a dome.
Turns out everyone loves the wig.
So that was one of my fun stories. Then he and I actually went to dinner together afterwards, and I never saw him again. So
he liked the wig, really.
He really liked the wig. That's what it was. So that's
Amazing.
my wig story.
It's so funny. Well, no wigs for this girl. I'm telling you, they're hot.
What do guys think about women with like extensions or wigs or?
Wigs is a bit of a different one, but for me, for example, I mean, as long as it's looking natural, you know, and it's like the extensions, and you know, I was having this conversation with a friend the other day about cosmetics, you know, and I've had cosmetics, you know, my teeth, I've had a few like moles removed and stuff like that, and I'm even considering a hair transplant, but it's, you know, it's just going to look right. I think in this day and age, there's so much social pressure on image. Well, there always has been, but I think, you know, apps like Instagram have really sort of boosted this, and you know, we're seeing a lot of pressure with women, and because of the photo apps, they're getting so much more advanced, and what's happening is we're getting an unrealistic expectation of women. I mean, you know, we're seeing these big Brazilian fake butts that they're popular. The lips, you know, the lips. I mean, I've seen so many horror stories of the lip thing. It's
but
really bad.
I've also heard from men who have said, when I showed up on the date, the person in the picture who had Photoshop filtered it to ad nauseum, they were really disappointed that,
Absolutely,
I mean, the person who showed up was very different, because it had been altered to such a great degree that there was such a discrepancy between reality and what they had seen, that it was like two different people.
Yeah, and I've definitely got stories of that where friends of mine and clients have shown up and the pictures are 7 years old and they're nothing they look like. It's just all it's all a big con, and it looks like where we're going now with all of the dating apps is that they're all becoming video based, which brings us into more of a place of authenticity. You know, who you're talking to is what you're getting, and for anyone that is using online dating apps, try to get on the Instagram and try to look for a moving image, a video, the most recent video of that person, so you can actually get an idea of what they look like. And some people they don't really think too much about having updated images, and they're wondering why they're getting ghosted and why they never hear from the person again. Was because it's false advertising is what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Johnny, you bring up a great point. I was just reading an article. I don't know where I was reading it. I think it was today, about the fact that because of these filters on Instagram, there's a lot of false advertising, basically. And so that's what I think we're talking about now, is that because of what you can do with technology, people feel so pressured on their social media to make it look like they're perfect. And then when you see them in real life, it's like, wait. And, you know, I can tell actually when somebody posts a selfie of themselves or they change their profile picture, I'll be like, there's filters there. That's not real.
Yep.
So I don't know
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I don't know what's.
I have the app. I think it's called Facetune, and I always call it Hollywood 4 because that seems to be the one that's most popular with the girls. It's called the Hollywood 4 face, and they're all Hollywood 4. I mean, it's just madness, you know.
So a question I have, one of the celebrities on Shark Tank, I just read that, no, actually she did a TikTok, Barbara Corcoran and a woman from Real Housewives of New York. And they had this butterfly and then they had a bee. So if they put, breast augmentation, and then if they got it, they showed the butterfly, I forget whichever it was. Mm-hmm. So Barbara had she's had 3 facelifts. So wow. I was very surprised with that. And the other one, I think her name's Leah, she had several things done, and Barbara had her knees done. So my question is, how do guys feel about being with someone that has, like, if you have 3 facelifts, you must be constantly like, oh my gosh, this is my brand, I have to get my face looking a certain way. Are men turned off by cosmetic surgery or any of those things?
I think we're just turned off at done wrong. Or it overdone. I mean, my ex-girlfriend, she had a lot of cosmetics. As we sit here and jest about the Brazilian bum, she had the Brazilian bum. She had the Brazilian breast. She was a regular user of Botox, and she's had several things probably done on her face as well. But the way it's done really well. I have to give credit to who a surgeon is. And she would, she was 41, and she would easily pass as someone in their sort of mid-30s. So she was very attractive, very sexy. I think I've seen examples of it done right. I've seen examples of it done wrong.
Now, I don't want to be specific in her case, but what if the person didn't have any of those things? Would they still, would you still be attracted?
Absolutely. And because this person came as a surprise for me, because I was always one that was, I'm not into that sort of fake look, the boobs and bum and that, but I found it to be most satisfactory as it happened.
Well, I've shared this before, and I said it on the other show, but I get Botox here and here and here, and I just did something I never had done before. I don't even know what it was, but when I went to the woman who's been injecting me for 20 some years, she said, I know that you're going to be concerned about your forehead. She said, but really, you look very tired because your skin under here has fallen. So she stuck something in here, and I don't know. I was like, whoa, I look wide awake now. And I highly recommend it because I feel better about myself,
Great.
Well, and see, I do nothing. I do absolutely nothing. So to each his own, though. But if that makes you feel better,
it's not how you
and
feel.
Confident,
if it's something out there that can help you, make you feel better, then why not? As long as it's not going to harm your health, that's the main thing.
But I think, Tony, you also make a great case that things that are done poorly look like they're done poorly.
Yeah.
And that's a different problem than when something looks unnatural. Like Jacalyn, I wouldn't guess that you've done a darn thing. You just look good. Right? Exactly. But if you end up with lips that are twice the size of your nose, then things are really extreme and unnatural. Right, exactly.
I know some beautiful girls in London, right? That they're constantly on the scene, and sometimes I see them. They show up and they've had their lips done, and they're like, if they're just ridiculously too big, disproportionate to their face.
Yes. I think I shared one time I had my lips done, and I had to pick my boss up at the airport, and he got in the car and he said, what the F did you do to yourself? And I was like this, because I couldn't even move them. That was so bad. And it takes, first of all, it's very painful because they have to inject I didn't get the numbing stuff. But anyway, after that, I said I would never have my lips done again because I look like a duck.
Right. Maybe that's the look you're going for.
And we have a comment. Donald Duck Lips. Yes, Mitch, that's exactly what it was. And if I could find that picture right now, I would show you because you would crack up. It was so funny. And I actually paid for that.
All right, we want to see it in the comments when we post this video. Yeah, that's going to be on LinkedIn under Jacalyn's profile. We're going to see that in the comments.
Yes, but I have to say, when it did settle down, which I think took maybe a few weeks or a month, it actually looked like I had a nice lift. You know, because you get older, the line where your lip is, it starts to disappear. So, anyway, I digress once again. Mitch has another comment. So he says they make horrible kissers too. Mitch, do you know this from personal experience? So I don't know, because do the lips even work? I mean, for kissing and.
I don't know.
Johnny, any comments?
I mean, if you've had them done, surely you know, right?
I don't think I was involved with anyone.
Okay, that was a period of no kissing. Okay.
Yes, 4 wives. Yes.
Oh
okay.
my goodness. Oh, wasn't one enough? Oh my goodness.
Wait, all 4 wives had their lips done? Sorry, Johnny, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that they can look good if they're done right, but I think it's less is more with that sort of thing. You know?
Yeah.
It's if you pump too much stuff in there. I mean, I don't want to get near those things.
Right.
You know, you might swallow me. I don't know. What's
Mitch says you get sucked onto the lip strip to the ER.
Oh, goodness.
Right.
Exactly. Well, I have to say that all of these things that are available, they require money, and sometimes they're painful, and sometimes they don't work out. I used to be a big fan of what was Bikram yoga, and then they changed the name to hot yoga. And I tried different hair extensions over time. So first I tried the ones that you would tape in, and I'd be upside down and I'd be like, oh, there's my hair, excuse me, as I crawl across the floor. And then I had another one that they sew it in, and it was like you had bolts in your head, like Frankenstein had like these little square boxes. And you go to bed, you'd be like, oh, it's like the price of beauty.
Yeah, you always got to be careful as well, especially in the bedroom. You can't be rough with those sort of things.
You're exactly right.
You got a raging girlfriend that spent quite a lot of money on her extensions, and you pulled them out of her head. They're on the pillow. She's not going to be happy.
Exactly. Yeah, you have a list. It's like, don't touch this, don't do that. I can't kiss you.
Exactly.
My lips are still processing. It's just.
It's so funny.
Oh wow.
Mitch has another comment. They can also explode. Yeah. I guess.
Wow.
I guess they could.
Awful.
I don't know. Johnny, tell us what's going on with you over on Clubhouse.
On Clubhouse, yeah, I've been having fantastic conversations with all sorts of people. I mean, I've been doing coffee with Johnny, which is Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. UK time, most days, unless a life event happens and I can't make it. But and then, sorry, that's 11 a.m. UK time, and then 7 p.m. UK time, I host the room with my fellow co-hosts, and we talk under the club Sexual Superpowers. So we talk a lot of things around sex, empowerment, likes and dislikes, experiences. It's great.
Thank you for sharing that, Johnny. You and I were in a room, I think on Sunday, and it was Dr. Oh my gosh, I love her. Dr. Nancy Lee's room. And I don't know if you remember the conversation. I don't know if you were there at the time, I should say. But the conversation, a gentleman brought up the fact that his friends, people he knows, that they're more into relationships with multiple partners. So instead of dating just one person, and everybody knows what everyone's doing. So I wonder what your thoughts are on that, Johnny.
There's been much more discussion around this relationship model. Personally, I don't know many people that have done it successfully. I think it becomes quite idealistic, but the actual management of it is like a full-time job. You're dealing with multiple people's emotions. I mean, surely one person is enough. I think what works for most people is this term monogamish. You're mostly monogamous, but at times, you may open your relationship up for certain experiences, or certain hall passes or whatever. But I think there's a lot to learn from the polyamory community, and I think the biggest takeaway is that high level communication, because we all need it in our relationships. And I actually think it's worth reading books on polygamy, because you will start to understand what is very effective communication. It's not a go and read these books to try and brainwash yourself into that lifestyle, but just to understand the level of communication needs to be had to run a model like that, because I reckon it will really help you in your own sort of own relationship, whatever model you choose to model on.
And what are you finding there in the UK, there in London? Is this model something that is you hear about, or is this something people, if they are doing it, they keep it to themselves, all of themselves?
There are pockets of community within it, but I mean, yeah, it's definitely become more mainstream. You know, I think we've seen that coming over the hill. If we look at what we've experienced in the past decade or two, like gay marriage wasn't a thing. You can actually be gay and be married now, and it's more, we live in a world where it's more accepted in society, so the next thing that seems to be coming over the hill is the polyamory.
Lisa, what are your thoughts?
No thanks. Feels like a lot of work. No, thank you. I think one is plenty to handle. I mean, I agree that communication is essential. And I think that's where many couples fail, is that, okay, like here's an example. So I was talking with someone just today who met a guy. They've been together for a few months. He's very touchy-feely in public, and she's very private. So she said to me, how can I bring up to him that I don't like him kissing me at the table in a restaurant? And she said, because I don't want to, if that's his way, I don't want to make him feel bad or have it introduce a new tension to the relationship where he has to watch what he's doing. And yet, she goes, it kind of drives. I said, well, is he reaching across the table and feeding you? She goes, sometimes. I went, oh, okay, well. So how would you address that where there's
again, it's like she knows what needs to be said. She just needs to say it. Okay, it's a lot of us. It's a lot of us when I'm working with my clients, and we're sort of creating a feedback loop of, okay, what was said, and what did you want to say? Sometimes just about, you got to take that handbrake off. You got to take the handbrake off, because for whatever reason you're stopping yourself from communicating something. In the case that I'm thinking about in my head, I'm just thinking about a client that wanted to speak to strangers in the coffee shop, right? Just standing there, just saying, I go, what did you want to say? And he told me what he wanted to say. I was like, wow, that's amazing. If you would have said that, that would have made such great impact. But there's something there that's stopping you from saying it. What is it? It's the fear. It's a consequence. There's a consequence attached to me actually voicing my thought. And that makes sense in a relationship, right? We don't upset our partner, but we might fear that they'll look at us in the wrong way, or they'll get upset, we'll hurt their feelings. But really what's going to happen is you're going to get super frustrated with the behavior and take it out on them. And that could all be saved if you just release that handbrake and just have that conversation. You know what, like for me, like I love going out with you for dinner, but I've just always had an issue with, PDA, like public displays of affection. Like it's nothing against you. I love you, and that's why I choose to be with you. But it's just, I like to enjoy our dinner. That's it, and be patient, hear what you've got to say. Just create that dialogue.
Yeah, I told her, I said, well, you trying to preserve his way is denying you yours. So eventually, if you resent it, he's going to feel resistance. You might pull away. You might inadvertently make a face or stiffen up, and he's going to feel that. So it's going to be a problem one way or another. So you need to address it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and early, sooner than later, or else the resentment pawn gets
because isn't that the problem? Like problems happen when we assume our partner knows what we want, right? We go, oh, they should know that I don't like that, or they should know that I like it this way, or like to be touched like that. They should know. Well, they don't know, and that's the problem. And you understand the consequences of that in business. If you assume someone knows how to deliver a certain service, and you haven't instructed them to how, then that someone's going to, something's going to go wrong. So we understand the consequences in business. It's the same with any relationship. So let's just take that lesson on board for the ones we have at home.
Great advice. Great advice. We are at the end of our show. It went by so quickly. And Johnny, we're so glad that you could join us. We are streaming your banner, but for people who are listening on the radio, can you please share how they can reach you?
Excellent. Yes. Well, I'm mostly active on Instagram. So my handle is @LondonDatingCoach. Clubhouse, you can find me at just type in Johnny Cassell. My website as well, johnnycassell.com. Shoot us a message if you're looking to get help in your dating and social life on any platform, really, and we'll create a dialogue between us, see if we do what we can do.
Outstanding. Thank you again for being here. We're really thrilled to see you, and congratulations on things opening up and being able to get back out there soon.
Finally.
Yay.
All right, take care, Johnny. I'll see you back over on Clubhouse.
All right, ladies. Great
Bye-bye,
to be here.
Johnny.
Bye.
God bless.
Bye.
Ciao.
It's always nice to have a guy's perspective, isn't it?
It really is, yes. We haven't had a lot of guys on this show. I think Mitchell should come on the show. He had a couple other comments. Let me see. He said he lived with sisters in New York City. Oh, that sounds interesting. Their parents were abused.
I'll bet.
So, yeah, that's an invitation for you, Mitch, to come on the show. And speaking of the show, Lisa, I'm going to spotlight you, and if you can share what you're doing at Presence Intelligence, and then I think you have an announcement for us.
I do. Well, Presence Intelligence, as I've mentioned on many a show, is my professional focus, and that's the working with people to make certain that who they are on the inside is making its way with integrity to the outside, which is really important in any aspect of life, in particular in dating. Because if you are who you're not, or you try to be who you're not, it's really stressful and misleading. So I believe who you are needs to make its way to the outside, because then you'll be more relaxed. The dating experience and all other experiences will have a certain feeling to them that's authentic and extremely less stressful. But given that this is my professional focus, there is a very strong neuroscience piece to the Presence Intelligence equation, and I am immersed in a neuroscience certificate program. It turns out that this is not for enrichment. This is actually education that is filled with some pretty heavy duty brain stuff. And I'm going to turn over my role in this show to another colleague of Jacalyn and myself, so that I can master the brain science part of Presence. And I'll be retiring my role here at this point. I will say, though, it's been delightful, and anyone who has any needs in terms of Presence Intelligence and improving the integrity of how they present, feel free to reach out to me at presenceintelligence.com/daters. But in the meantime, Jacalyn, it's all yours, and I'll be now spectator.
Well, thank you so much. We've had so much fun, and we've had some really great guests on this show.
Yes, we have. Yes, and I'll check it out. I'll come back and visit sometime.
Fabulous. And of course, you are one of our charter presenters on A Better You. And so we'll still be able to see you on A Better You, which is great. And then everybody can also see you over at RVN TV. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's Wednesday mornings from 8 to 9. I co-host Morning Coffee. It's a variety show where we interview a number of different professionals from all different walks of life. It's entertaining and fun. We have a sports update, and it's a great way to start a Wednesday morning, I can tell you that.
Lots of good information there, and it's a fun environment. You and Mark make a great team.
Yep. All righty.
All right. Well, thank you again for being here. We wish you well, and enjoy that class. That's got to be really tough.
I have to admit, it's tougher than I anticipated, but I will be able to really concentrate on it.
Well, good for you. And thank you again for being here.
Thanks all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes, so sadly, Lisa will not be the co-host on the show anymore, but who knows, maybe she'll be a co-host on another show in the future. Taking over as co-host is Lori Mendelson. She is my co-host on The Variety Show, And she's also over on Clubhouse. It's LORIMENDELSOHN. So she'll be starting with us next week. I do have some announcements about our upcoming shows. Right after this at 5:30 Eastern, which is 10:30 British Summer Time, we have A Better You, lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. And our expert presenter is Mariska Duprier, and she's joining us from New Zealand. She actually is my personal life coach. Okay, starting tomorrow, just bear with me, we have 7 shows. So starting at 10:30, no, I'm sorry, starting at 9 a.m., we have Tulips from America. This is a brand new show, and it's based on the Netherlands. And so my guest tomorrow, I hope I say her name right. It is I'm not going to say it right, Nelleke, Jacalyn Schulten. I hope I got that right. She's an author. She's also a coach. She's done a lot of incredible things. We're going to hear from her tomorrow. That's at 9 Eastern time, and that's 2 p.m. British Summer Time. At 10:30 a.m., which is 3:30 British Summer Time, we have A Better You. And our expert presenters are Mike Boisennote, and he just presented twice today, and Hyatt Ives. Then at 12 o'clock on Fashion, Fitness, Travel, and Leisure with my co-host Diane Floyd-Bain, we have joining us from Australia, Tyler Lockwood. At 1:30, I have a story to tell. That's 1:30 Eastern Time, which is 6:30 British Summer Time. And our guest is Maury Zelkovich. At 3:30 Eastern Time, which is 8:30 British Summer Time, we have Pet Psychic Amina. And our guest is Joyce Brown. At 5 p.m., on Stories of Hope, Inspiration, and Overcoming Adversity, my guest is Rita Smith. That's 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 p.m. British Summer Time. And then the final show of the week is the variety show with co-host Lori Mendelson. And we have an incredible singer. He is good friends with the Bee Gees. He is performing, I think he is in Portugal. I'm just looking to see if I can find where he is. His name is John Christian, and he's going to be joining us for a live broadcast, which is going to be really exciting. I've listened to his music. He's truly amazing. Other announcements, my book, Yay, it's going to be available for pre-order on Sunday. I'll show you the book cover for those of you who don't know. This is my first published book. It's called Behind the Green Screen, How to Succeed in the Live Broadcasting Business. This is a how-to book for anyone to develop and produce a live broadcast like I've done. It's not a podcast. It's a live streaming broadcast. We started on Zoom. First, we started on the phone with Business Talk Radio in New York. Then we went to Zoom, and now we're on 11 platforms, 17 shows, and that's since August of last year. So it's how you can do the same thing mixed with stories of my own personal journey of how and why I left the corporate world March 6th, 2020. And the final announcement is I am raising money for the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. For those of you who don't know, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis in 1991, and it is a dreadful disease. It is extremely painful. I spent most of my life living in fear, shame, humiliation. I really think that that's a lot of the reason why I'm single, because I have this commitment issue in terms of being in a relationship with someone and having them see what it is I really go through on a regular basis. So I'm usually sick 3 to 6 months every year. And I found the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation in 2018. It's really changed my life. So I do fundraising for 3 main events each year. The first one's coming up June 5th, and it's the Take Steps Walk. So if you would go to my Facebook page, Jacalyn Kerbeck, my personal page, and put in Take Steps, you'll see there's a place for you to donate. And seriously, any amount of money is so appreciated. The money goes directly to the foundation. It does not come to me. And I promised to raise $3,000, which is a lot less than I've done in the past. But I'm only at 1,100, something like that. So I really need your help. And again, if you can't find it on Facebook, you can go to drjacalyn.com and you can contact us and you'll be sent the link. So please help me raise awareness, raise money. It's not for me at my age. I just want to help the young people who are being diagnosed all the time, hospitalized. I just had someone in my support group, she was hospitalized, I think 16 times last year with Crohn's disease. It's absolutely horrible. There's no cure. It's chronic and incurable. So please help us raise awareness and funding. Thank you again. I'm going to sign off now because I have my next show coming up. It's been great having you here. We'll see you hopefully right around the corner for a better you. Bye.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.